Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name's Josh.
Welcome back to FPL graduates and welcome back to another FPL video. It is pre-season. Players are flying left, right and centre. And we're going to tell you 5 players we think you should avoid.
Okay, so starting off in between the sticks is going to be Kepa Arrizabalaga. 4.5 million last season, was one of my, I think he was actually my top scoring goalkeeper last season for my team. Just goes to show how bad my team was in between the sticks last season. £5 million, got the price increase this season. However, there are a lot of £4.5 million goalkeepers that are potentially better than him and £4.5 million defenders at Chelsea who could be just as nailed as him. What's your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because obviously you're looking at game week 3, 4 and 5 and those fixtures just scream of a clean sheet. But there's so many unknowns right now with Chelsea and we can't really say how good or bad they're going to be. So for me, a lot, in fact, all Chelsea assets, I'd see as a monitor and wait and see. Let's see how they play in game week 1 and 2 and reassess from there because game week 3, 4 and 5, you want to be able to bring in the right Chelsea asset. And if that asset does happen to be Kepa come game week 3, then so be it. But for game week 1 and 2, you probably want to avoid them for now just to work out how Chelsea are going to play under Pochettino because they're more likely play a fullback, which they haven't played in a few years. So let's see how they adapt to that. And we'll go from there from game week 3, Luton at home, then Forest at home. And we really could see some good returns off the back of us just analysing and seeing what they do in the first 2 game weeks. Okay, so next up, we've got Kieran Trippier of Newcastle. Last season's top scoring defender in FPL, and we are saying he is an avoid. 6.5 million is a hefty price rise, and you can get someone like Sven Botman for 4.5 million. That's a full £2 million saving. And if you've got coverage in the Newcastle defence for 2 million cheaper, you can spend elsewhere, which is why we're sort of saying, look, Trippier may not be the one this season.
Yeah, one of the big things with Trippier last season was his bonus points because he doesn't necessarily get too many attacking returns. As you see there, 10 attacking returns, all of which, by the way, were assists, I do believe. So there's 30 points on its own, but it was the bonus points that he was racking up above the defenders that sort of changed the game for him. But I feel like with £2 million, especially with the midfielders that you could have on offer this season, there is definitely more points to be made up with those rather than picking Kieran Trippier over someone like Sven Botman. The fixtures as well, those first 5 are an avoid on their own. So, yeah, very tough start for Newcastle. Okay, so our third player on this list is going to be Dominik Szoboszlai. I hope I have not butchered his name. But obviously, he's new to the Premier League, coming from the Bundesliga. We've heard this story before. 7 million, though, a good price tag, I think. You know, a fair price tag, seeing what he's done. 6 goals and 8 assists in the Bundesliga last season. So nothing too crazy to write home about. It'll be interesting to see what sort of role he has in that Liverpool team and whether he'll be much of an attacking threat going forward. But one thing to look out for is that he's already 10% owned. So we all know that everyone who's downloaded FPL so far, 10% of them are Liverpool fans, Ben.
Which is quite a high percentage, really. Yeah, at 7 million, he's not a bad price. Let's just say that first. But I really don't know how Szoboszlai is going to sort of break into this Liverpool team and really sort of work. I know he's quite direct with his passing, a bit like Trent Alexander-Arnold. So if it is a case that he's starting with someone like Darwin up top, he could be really, really good, but we just don't know. And at 7 million, I think you're probably better off with someone who's a lot more Premier League proven. Around the same price point, you can 0.5 million, you can get someone cheaper like Matoma, or you can go get Eberechi Eze, or you go, a little bit more and get a Martinelli or a Saka. So for now, it's sort of an avoid, and let's see how he plays because there are proven Liverpool players in this team that we know score points, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, like a Mohamed Salah, that I think you can go for and secure points, a bit more safely than going for someone with so many unknowns around him. Okay, so next up, we're going for Kevin De Bruyne. And at 10.5 million, with a hamstring that unfortunately is keeping him out for the start of the season, we do think he's going to be a avoid. He's not going to make game week 1. We know that for certain. And yeah, it's a shame, but it does enable us to potentially go for some other Manchester City assets.
Yeah, the likes of Phil Foden that we've spoken about before in previous videos. If you want to see those, definitely check them out. Last season, 7 goals and 18 assists is nothing to be sniffed at. And I think when De Bruyne does return, he is at a price point which is very interesting this season for me. 10.5 million. He'll probably drop a little bit potentially, depending on how long he is out for as well. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Those fixtures as well for Man City are just so good. So it's a big shame that he's missing it, but it does, like Ben said, open the door to these cheaper City assets that we could be seeing some good returns from. The final player in our top 5 players to avoid for the start of the Premier League season in FPL is going to be Darwin Nunez. Ben brought him up earlier with Szoboszlai, and obviously, again, relatively high ownership already for this season. 7.5 million, so he's had that price reduction, which I think is definitely fair. You know, he missed so many chances last season. Look at that XG, nearly at 15 XG, but only converting 9 of them. We know, you know what you're getting with Nunez. He's a high volume chance producer, but he needs about 5 of them to take them. What's your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I think his season could go one of two ways. He could very much continue the trend, but he also could bite us in the butt, so to speak, with this prediction of him flopping the season, because genuinely there is every possibility that he could absolutely hit the ground running and be flying by game week 5. But you just don't know of him, and that's the risk that you take. There's still unknowns with him after a season, and for 7.5 million, it's at a price point where there are a lot of decent options up top that you could go for. So why risk someone who's rotation prone, especially sort of now Luis Diaz is fully fit. You've got Gakpo in there, and go for someone that's a little bit more nailed on to start in a team just as good as Liverpool. So yeah, for now it's an avoid, and you know, we could come back later on in the season and he could be the starting striker for Liverpool, scoring goals every week, but we just don't know.
Okay, so that wraps up our top 5 players to avoid. Do you think we've made an absolute howler? Let us know in the comments, and anyone that you think we should be avoiding, put them in the comments as well.
Yeah, and as always, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the FPL Graduates. And as always, I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you guys
later.